the article.
We are reading in the writers of RABASH, the article 882, Rosh Ha Shana. This is an untranslated text. On the sentence, the eyes of the Lord your God are continuously on it from the beginning of the year, at times for the good and at times for the bad. How? After all, Israel were complete wicked in the Rosh Hashanah, and they were sentenced by few rains. Eventually, they repented. To add to them, it's impossible since the sentence was sentenced, but the Creator brings them down in time to the land, which needs it all according to the land. At times for bad. How? After all, Israel were complete righteous in Rosh Hashanah, and they were sentenced with many rains. In the end, they have repented, and at least from them it's impossible, for this sentence was sentenced, but the Creator brings them down not in their time upon the land, which does not need them. And Rashi interpreted this, not in its time, meaning before seeding, which does not need them in the forests and the deserts. To understand this on the way of ethics, one should interpret that Rosh Hashanah is called the beginning of creation of man, meaning as our sages have said, that the drop is announced as wise or dumb or so on. Reigns, meaning his corporeal forces, meaning if he will have a small or large mind, a small or large heart, a small desire or a large desire, and so on. And if a person goes in the path of good, when he grows, to add to him, it's impossible, meaning to make a greater mind or desire, because it was already decisively defined for him in the time of his creation, and all his mind and inertia is used only in the place of sanctity and need. And this is sufficient for him to reach the degree in which he will merit the revelation of the light of the Creator, and to truly adhere to him, and receive his part in the next world. And if a person in the beginning of his creation was given a large brain and a great desire, but if he does not go in the path of good and straight path, then he uses them not for the proper need, as a matter that the Creator brings them down not in their time to the land that does not need them. If so, they are not, all these good forces are not beneficial to him that were given to him during his creation. For he could have been knowledgeable in Shas and Poskim, but will not merit the completeness and perfection that is desired, which is called adherence to him. It works out that a person should not have a problem if he doesn't have a talent like the rest of his friends, because that's not what decides. The main thing is to be a tzaddik, a righteous one, and only by taking advantage of all the forces that will be given to the right goal, and not give his forces to not be used, and all his forces and exertion are connected and enter into sanctity.
Each one is born with his own qualities, as if one is smarter, the other is less, one is more successful at something, or has more patience, persistence, greater than others. They tell us here that all the qualities a person is born with are, they all in all, they don't determine what a person should reach. Rather, it all depends on his exertion. And they give us an example here. In Rosh Ha Shana, in the beginning of the year, they determine how many rains will fall this year. Let's say from the heavens it should fall a few tons of water. The question is, where will they fall? Will they come down on the right place, on my field, or some place by my city, in the sea or in the desert, where they are not needed? This depends on if I am preparing myself as the land to receive the reforming light, help from above, and then I receive the blessing from above, and so I advance. And so we should understand that even though we've been granted many presents already, it all depends on our future exertion, and especially now, the exertion should be more in quality. If it used to be so that we'd sit down, maybe sleep a little, study a little, listen more or less, we did many actions throughout the years. Congresses, meals, yeshivot chaverim, different operations, handing out newspapers and everything. It all may have been good, and we received a good response from above for our exertion, because the exertion was mainly in quantity. Whereas now, each and every time we advance, and now we have come to a new stage in building our Kli to reveal the Creator, our joint Kli to reveal the Creator. So now we should pay attention to the quality of our exertion. This is much more important than the quantity. And here it's not work as the still. It's more like the vegetative state. I myself should start discerning my relation. I should be awake and to pay attention to the changes that occur in me and how I respond to them. The intentions start to be more important than the actions. It's better to do less, but with the right intention, and more and more and more according to the degrees. So for us, this article is to the point. It comes to us in the right time. Great help was prepared from above for us, and we may get it, but will we be granted with it? That's a question. Therefore, we must begin from fear. First comes fear. Do we really understand that the ball is in our hands? And it's up to us to do the qualitative exertion in inner work for everything that we should do. The first question is, according to what do they sentence the amount of rains from above for the whole year? How do they decide? According to what do they decide how much rain will fall next year? According to what do they decide how many rains will fall throughout the year, from one Rosh Ha Shana to the next one?
According to the potential to which I am supposed to reach that I can, according to all of my conditions, I can realize in advance.
According to the quality of my desire and my exertion to get these rains.
Each receives according to his ability to overcome, his ability to make efforts.
And this year it becomes joined. We don't receive personal rains, sustenance, vitality, or force to work. Rather, to the degree of our concentration and entrance inwards and going outwards as well. Accordingly, they will bring us rains, according to how much we are worthy of them.
And we will be worthy to the degree that we will prepare ourselves. And what we seed and sow, accordingly, the rains will come.
That this is the right dosage we need. That's basically the next degree.
When we name the next degree now in the quality of the exertion,
now in the next degree, the quality of the exertion will determine if the rains will fall in the desert or we will receive them. But the rains that were predetermined are according to the quality we have disseminated in.
What's the difference in the relationship towards us from the upper providence so far and from this state and onwards? What's the difference, the quantitative relationship between now and onwards in according to the upper providence?
The difference is between the still and vegetative. The still is mainly in the quantity, and the vegetative starts doing his work in quality.
Each is included by the others, integrated by the others. Each listens and truly nullifies before everyone.
The quality is really with respect to the upper and in the work of our group.
And now our common exertion of the group is measured.
Our common exertion should be realized with respect to our independence, with respect to the upper light. So my sons have defeated me.
And this defeat, this triumph, can only be when we manage to move together to the first degree in common movements.
And according to the amount that we realize the interdependency, to that extent we may receive what we are supposed to receive.
And this implementation starts in the 10 and ends in the whole world.
Because over there, within the 10, there's this movement that we can do together.
To identify this movement and relate and draw the upper force in order to use the...
When we draw the upper force, we may receive the correction and everything becomes more qualitative.
How is the calculation from above directed towards a person, towards the 10, towards the group, which is maybe included by many 10s, to all the groups in that country or all over the world? How is this calculation divided and done? As dependent as we are on each other, where we have already needed to do this kind of a calculation in all of the world's Bnei Baruch. Please. Otherwise, the rains won't come down in the right place.
The calculation is made with respect to the relation that should grow in each of us. He should experience his relation towards the goal through the 10.
Meaning, where are the borders of mutual guarantee, actually, yes? That's the question. Please.
The borders of the mutual guarantee are examined in the quality of each of our friends' work with respect to the fulfillment of the other's desires.
Yes, it starts in the 10, and we also saw this in the Peter convention, that very quickly we managed to connect within the 10, and then from the 10 we already can relate to other 10s in the world Kli.
And this relation should be determined from the instructions that Rav says, and he gives each part in the world Kli according to the role that he sees from above, and accordingly
we actually come in the calculation of the whole world Kli in the first stage towards providence.
Because the calculation from above is on everyone in one strike, and all the parts depend on that rule. So according to the amount we are together, we understand the calculation from
yes,
above.
And it's a calculation which is summed up by each 10 as much as it connects within it and connects to other 10s. Eventually, the general calculation is of our whole Kli.
The question is, how much do I see myself within the 10, within the 10s in this world Kli?
So where is that boundary of the mutual guarantee that we need to define as a must, compulsory? There are several of such constant places. What do we need to do so that between us there'll be such a connection that we will obligate the upper Partzuf to bring rains down upon us, meaning a blessing as the reforming light to the right place? The wrong place is called that the light will come down to the deserts, which is called the klipa, the shell, and from there it comes to us in the form of bad, which advances us eventually to the good, but in the path of in its time and not in Rosh Ha Shana in haste. That's how we define for ourselves how we advance.
We're coming to a state where the arvut, the mutual guarantee, is about to work. And we won't be let to leave this arvut. If we go into the arvut in the 10 or generally in Israel that we have to draw to us, it will be like a machine that every time that you leave it, it strikes you if you're wasting your time and not in arvut.
Arvut, mutual guarantee, becomes more central in all that we do, and the 10 enables us to enter into this state and compels us
to enter the borders of the arvut, which is the minimum. The first cell in the arvut begins from a 10.
And really, this force is built not in words but also in actions of how we express ourselves on a daily basis towards each other and towards this goal.
That's the first level of arvut within the 10. After that, there's another level of arvut of every 10 as one with respect to the rest of the world.
And this new border is much more qualitative. It demands and compels us for inner arvut in thought, in concern, in trepidation.
Because the arvut in the 10 is not with respect to 10 faces. It's the inner structure called 10, and it's a lot wider than the 10 people I sit with.
Therefore, arvut must be general. It has to grab everyone within it. It has to contain the whole world kli, because otherwise mutual guarantee won't operate. Even if I'll have an exalted 10 in which I'll be in arvut in it, it'll be just a sitting of fools if we don't do this arvut for everyone.
And if we set it as a goal that every new border we define, exiting this border,
yes, as long as I exit myself as much as possible, if I can even do it right now.
Only with the upper force, we have to demand it to give us the opportunity to catch the 10 and to hold on to it.
Only by using this upper force we can connect. There needs to be a constant demand for connection and a demand for changing from the reforming light.
What is the difference in our work by which we determine if the rains will fall down in the right place, so there'll be a spiritual blossom, or in the bad place where it will simply create the negative forces by which we will advance in a long path? What's the difference in our work? How can we guard ourselves, protect ourselves, to be in a way that we call for the rains to fall down correctly, so that the upper light will bestow? It's the same light that is preset in Rosh Ha Shana. It should come down either on our efforts, on our good efforts, or our bad efforts. What's the difference in our work? Where do we get it? Where do we call for it? Where do we wait for it? Go ahead.
When I'm waiting for it to be revealed in me and fill me in my attitude and my feeling, or I wait for it to be revealed in the kli which is called friends.
Yes, this matter of the plea for the others, for the friends, that's where it's expressed. The more I do it in faith, out of deep emotion, that this is what I want, out of emotions of love, just as I'm asking for my son, out of these forces that begin to be more real and stronger, that's where it's revealed.
It's a concern for me or for the spirituality of my friends.
It should be realized by making everything round from this moment on, from the point when we imprint this infrastructure of the tens. We're doing it every morning now in order for it to live throughout the day. In every state I go through, I round it up.
All of reality, so that in the general and me in it, those rains will be revealed.
Because the Creator works only on what is in equivalence of form with Him. That's the place where we exert to connect. And every time we don't exert through the blows, He'll make us bend and come over.
And when we reach this connection, we also remember that we're doing this in order to bring Him delight and bring Him contentment.
This is why there's nothing else except for connection.
and we try to identify these states. What's my direction towards? What am I thinking about? My spirituality, or am I asking to be devoted to my group, to my 10, to hold on to them in a clear manner?
We have to constantly demand for the light to help me nullify myself with respect to the group. And ultimately, this light is manifested in a person.
So how practically do we prepare the place to which we draw the upper light to bestow? How do we prepare the place for the upper light to influence specifically there?
This can only be in the plea, in our plea for this place to be prepared, built.
A request, and we have the whole method, which we truly have during the workshops. And this needs to be not only during the workshops, it needs to simply be our way of life, our approach towards everything that's happening.
The approach that, first of all, comes with an amazing gratitude for everything. Can you hear me now? Okay.
You can't hear so good. You need to talk deeper into the microphone, friends.
Our approach should start with gratitude and gladness to realize the state of being the worker of the Creator.
And its happiness needs to be expressed. It's a result of what we're doing. And it's first of all the preparation for the lesson, in nullification between us, and going out to the nation, whether I feel like it or don't.
From now on, we'll be examined only according to the quality of our work. We'll be very meticulous about the internality of things, the intentions we come with to every action, and this should be our mutual guarantee to constantly be in a prayer for a friend.
Yes, it's not important what the action is. It could be the completely mundane action that has nothing to do with our connection, and we have to measure it in our attitude towards each other, towards our 10, no matter what we're doing.
Yeah, the action doesn't matter. What matters is to what extent I search for the Creator within the friend.
When I search, I reach a state in which I need help. And
when I ask for the help, and after doing great preparation, I can receive the light over this preparation and come to a change.
And the change is also the place where the light is revealed.
Are there any questions about what we just spoke about? No. Good. So let's move on to the next part.
The writings of RABASH, Volume 2. We are on letter 49. Once again.